Yo, what's happening everybody? King GBL here, and welcome back to a brand new Golbat League video. Today I'm going to be showcasing some really fun battles sent into the channel by Grant. Big shout out to Grant, and thank you very much for sending in the battles. If you wish to send in some battles of your own, link in the description down below, or you can feel free to join us in Discord and drop me a message, and if they're interesting battles, I will react to them. Today is a very interesting showcase. Darmanitan is about to absolutely feast on all of the dragons in this meta. And finally, before we hop into the gameplay, around 70% of people who watch these videos on a regular basis are not yet subscribed. If that is you, if you've not yet subscribed, please quickly do so. It helps out an absolute ton. And the more subscribers I get, the better content I can produce, and of course I can make more videos and things like that. So thank you very much everybody for all the support, and please go ahead and hit that subscribe button now if you haven't yet done so. Now, hopping on into the battles here, we've got Golbat versus Jellicent. Interesting matchup. We're up a shield here, so we have no need to bait. We can just go straight for the Shadow Ball. We're either going to secure the knockout or secure the final shield. I think the opponent does have a Frostlass in this match, so the opponent will probably be happy enough to let that go. I normally find that if the opponent has a strong answer to the Pokemon that you're facing off against in the middle game match, they're more than happy to let it go, especially if they're already down a shield. So I think that was a good opportunity to basically just full send the nuke, get the Pokemon out of there, and look to realign. Now this is not very simple for Frostlass, because ahead in energy, this thing will win the zero shield. So now we've got both of the opponent's shields here, and at this point I think the opponent needs to commit to the farm down. Will we get to a last second Poison Fang? Yes we do. And I think, okay, it wasn't CMP, the opponent did commit to the farm down, which is good. I think I would almost, if I was in the Frostlass's position, prefer to try and throw the move, just to make sure that doesn't happen, because you hate getting debuffed as a Frostlass especially. And now we're up 2 shields, and I think it might be time for the Darmeister, the Galarian Darmanitan. He's considering it. We're coming in for the aggressive farm down. Ice Fang's coming through, even though resisted with the debuff and with the attack weight of this Pokemon. They're going to absolutely rip through it. A Shadow Ball just absolutely one-shots it. I feel like you have to shield that one, unfortunately, but we do have Swampert up 2 shields, and we're going to basically, I guess, shield this one, look to go for an overfarm, and see what the opponent has in the back. A little bit unfortunate that Darmanitan in our first game here is getting absolutely wiped off the face of the planet. He's going extinct here. In comes a Dunsparce, so this is a GG basically. We can look to go for maybe like 1 Hydro, 1 Earthquake, I think would take it out roughly. And we'll see how much this Hydro Cannon does. This should do close to 50%, yeah, so 1 Hydro Cannon, 1 Earthquake will be more than enough to take this out. And we can definitely even just eat a Drill Run, it doesn't even matter at this point. The opponent will not be able to outpace us with shields, and this is going to be a good game anyway. We get a very decent lead in the next match. We've got Swampert versus Lantern, which of course is generally it's a pretty neutral match to be fair. But 1 Earthquake will look to take it out, including the Mudshot damage. And you know, the thing about this match that is a little bit awkward, especially if you're a Shadow, is that 2 Surfs will take out a Shadow, and 2 Surfs come very close to taking out the regular Swampert. I think in this situation, this is where you prefer regular Swampert. The opponent catches an Earthquake on Frostlass, which is never going to be pleasant, and as you can see, that almost takes it out. I think we should probably try to go for a Hydro Cannon before they get off a move, which is good. And at this point, we're looking to be in a good position. We're hoping the Lantern comes back in, because we don't really have an answer to this except for Swampert. And we do have to shield this up, even though it is a bit of a shame. We're on a low health here with Swampert. And we're going for a bait, which I think is kind of necessary at this point. I've been running a Swampert lead myself in this cup a few times, and it is very tricky with Lantern. Or if you're running... Okay, we're going for a Catch and Golbat. I think we're just completely sacrificing this thing and putting it all on the back of Swampert. If we can even get off a debuff on this thing, it might be quite nice, but at the very least here, we're getting rid of the opponent's energy. They're going for a Null or Surf. Definitely not the play, because we're now going to get off a debuff, which is going to allow us to basically go for a Hydro Cannon to take it out. So, oh, that's done a lot of damage as well. Shadow Golbat, of course, is very attack weighted and can hit like an absolute truck. At this point, the opponent swaps out to their Charizard, and this is not a good position for Charizard to be in. I think this match, unfortunately, it's a match where Galarian Darmanitan's not going to be able to shine as much as you would want it to. Is this a Shadow? Okay, so it does actually one-shot, so I think the opponent has pretty bad IVs. We're coming in for the Ice Fang down with Darmanitan, which even though resisted, is just ripping through the Lantern, and that's going to be a good game. I'm definitely very much looking forward to seeing this thing on Dragons or Flyers. We haven't quite seen the power of Darmanitan yet, but good games nonetheless, and you know, Lantern is always tricky. For that situation, I do prefer Quagsire, of course. We do get another Lantern lead, which generally is a positive lead, of course, but it is always just a little bit awkward. It's a bit of a bait and switch game, and the opponent does go for some sort of a catch. In comes Darmanitan, and we're just going to absolutely farm down this Altaria. I'm guessing we have pretty attack-weighted IVs based on the CP here, and yeah, this is just going to absolutely tear this thing apart. We do go down a shield, and we do have the Avalanche ready to go. Just out of curiosity, I wonder what the second move could possibly be for this thing, because I think you probably, of course, generally do want 2 moves, right? But I think this is just really here. Yeah, so the Darmanitan, it kind of knows superpower, which is quite an interesting one. You can have Ice Punch, Avalanche, Superpower, and Overheat. I mean, Overheat as well. Like, you could definitely run a nuke move in this and look to absolutely one-shot something. So we're going for the, I believe this is the second Poison Fang right here. We'll see what the opponent does. They do let it go. I think they're happy enough to let this Medicham go at this point. But the amazing thing here is we're going to permanently debuff this Lantern. And that's pretty much going to allow us to go for, like if the opponent goes for an Overfarm here, we can look to go for multiple Hydro Cannons, which is going to get the opponent very, very low. At this point, we don't need to go Earthquake. We've got the debuff through. This one Hydro Cannon being an overpowered move would get it extremely low, but we don't even need to go for another one. We just go for the bait and the switch. And here we go. Boom. Good night. As you're seeing, Darmanitan, given the right situation, just absolutely farms down and a pretty insane Pokemon. This Pokemon can no tackle if you're looking to go for more of an energy generation Pokemon, but I feel like with the Ice Fang, it just does so much damage. So if you're using the spicy Pokemon, you're definitely going to want to go for that side of things, I think. Swampert versus Frostlass, generally a pretty even matchup here. It really just depends on IVs, really, who wins CMP. The opponent does win CMP on this occasion, so this is going to be probably a little bit unfortunate. We're going to let the first Avalanche go, and look to probably save shields for Darmanitan. The good thing is here, we should hopefully be able to get to another Hydro Cannon, which will threaten the opponent's final shield. We're just going to aggro swap in here. Will the opponent get to the ball in time? They just about don't get to the ball. We actually farm them down with Ice Fang, and we're going to see what the opponent has here. There's definitely a few tricky things. The opponent comes in with a Drift Bloom. The opponent is just absolutely core broken. We're not throwing a move, we're just farming this the whole way down, and we're going to see what is in the back. I'm predicting if it's Drift Bloom, we could have another Flyer or Dragon in the back. Darmanitan is just going to absolutely sweep this game. We're up to back-to-back Avalanches. In comes Altaria. This would absolutely one-shot the Altaria. Boom, the opponent shields it up. Boom, we're going to go for a second one, and this is just good games. This is curtains for the opponent. They're just not ready for Darmanitan. I honestly would love to see this with the Superpower, because just getting that nuke off, or of course the Overheat, getting that nuke off would be amazing, especially against opposing things like Frostlass, so that would be pretty entertaining, I think. We're going to go for the Poison Fang. I think he probably could live a Sky Attack and just go straight Shadow Ball, especially because you're up a shield. But we are flexing, ladies and gents. We're catching the move on Swampert. We're definitely showing off here, and yeah, goodbye Swampert. We're going to look to basically farm this the whole way down, or even get to another Poison Fang. That might have been a CMP, I'm not too sure about. Good games nonetheless, and well played. Darmanitan just went to absolute town on this team, and that's a very, very good game, well played. Grant, he always likes using spicy Pokemon. I watch him in our Discord sometimes. He does stream in there occasionally, and you're always seeing him running these funny spicy picks. Darmanitan is definitely a very funny one in my opinion. So let's hop into this next battle. Let's see what we've got going on. Can we get a good alignment for Darmanitan? It is Medicham here. Bit of an issue, you know, it's not very good for Swampert in particular. I think in this matchup you do look to go for Hydro Cannons. The opponent swaps out, and I don't know why the opponent's swapping out. That's a very positive match for Medicham. We will have to eat a Sky Attack. That's the unfortunate thing about this Pokemon. It is so glassy that you do have to invest a shield. But the thing is, you will get a shield back on the other side, because this thing just hits so hard that it can look to apply a ton of damage to anything that comes in. In comes Medicham. I'm hoping this move goes through. I really want to see how much damage this will do. When Avalanche coming through, I would say that would do more than 50 or 60% of its health for sure. That would have probably got it deep into the yellow. So good shield by the opponent, and we've got the alignment we want now. We've got Golbat on the Medi. Now we do have to watch out for the Ice Punches. We can survive one, but it's not going to be very comfortable. Ice Punch number 1 coming through, and at this point, Ice Punch number 2 is coming through. The opponent is super far ahead in energy, and this is going to be a little bit tricky if they get to another Ice Punch. They come in with Noctowl here. Now what we really need to do is probably go for this debuff, which is actually going to allow us to two-shot the Noctowl with Swampert. We're going for another debuff here. I thought we might have looked to come in with Swampert, maybe go for an Overfarm, and look to get off a Hydro Cannon and Medi here. Okay, we're coming in, yep, we've got the move loaded. We're coming in for the Hydro Cannon. I think he probably could have got away with maybe one less move there. The opponent shields it, and we go for the CMP. So at this point, the opponent is, I believe, 5 or 6 counters off an Ice Punch. We should be able to outpace to the Hydro Cannon, which will get it super low. Will this be a CMP? I think they're just at the move here. I think the opponent's just at the move, and we're going to have to be careful here. The opponent, yeah, they do have to throw here, unfortunately, and this is going to be a good game. Of course, Golbat's going to come in, farm this thing down, and again, we're seeing the power of Darmanitan. You're basically farming something down in the middle game, getting a shield off the opponent that comes back in, and of course, being a very glassy Pokemon, it's here for a good time, not a long time, and that's what we love to see with these spicy showcases. Do let me know in the comments down below. Do you prefer watching spicy showcases, or do you prefer watching the more meta teams? Let me know what your personal preference is here. So in this match, as I sort of alluded to previously, if it's a Shadow Swampert, you can two-shot it. We're going to come into Golbat here. This is going to hurt. You might want to shield this up. Sky Attack, boom. That does hurt quite a lot. The opponent comes into Kingdra. The opponents are definitely, in these situations, maybe not locking us into like terrible matchups as much, which is definitely helping us out quite a lot here, because we're now able to get off multiple moves on this Kingdra and putting it in a very vulnerable position. Look how much damage that done. They're not even going to get off a move. Now we sort of have to come in with Swampert because we do want to keep Darmanitan, or you could look to go ahead and get ahead on energy with this thing. We just need to hope that there's something in the back. And they're coming back in with Noctowl. What is the opponent thinking here? Are we going to go for a catch on Swampert? Sort of realizing that if they're coming in with Noctowl, they have to be super weak to this thing. The opponent takes our first shield. We're going to farm it the whole way down. It has to be a dragon in the back. What is it? It is Credilli. Okay, it's still super effective damage. We're going to farm up here to back. And I think at this point, being a joint rock and water type, and with all of the damage we're doing here, we can come in, get a little bit of usage out of Swampert, pretty much just sacrifice this thing, and then look to farm it down with Darmanitan. We are going to go for a shield though, and maybe look to try and get the opponent's final shield, which I guess works out absolutely fine. The opponent will be forced to dump energy. We get to these moves very quickly in this thing. Can we get to the Hydro Cannon in time? We just about don't. Any grass type move, of course, will one-shot the Mud Boys with water typing. Double super effective damage. But we're going to come in here with our Avalanche. Look to one-shot this thing, and that's going to be a good game and good night. Yep, very good games and very well played. So I probably would have played it slightly differently, but you know, the result was kind of the same in the end. You know, going for the shield on Swampert, trying to get the shield off the opponent. I guess that worked out fine. I thought we were maybe going to look to just go for a one shield farm down. I think either way would have worked out absolutely fine. I thought the Swampert was there to be a sacrifice. Next game we have a Deoxys lead versus Swampert. This is a perfectly fine matchup because it's non-stop counters. This thing is bulky, and we just basically outspam this Pokemon. We're going to look to farm up. I think we're trying to CMP in 7 right there. The opponent really sort of has to farm up to back-to-back Psycho Boosts. They can't really afford to throw like Rock Slides and things. They're going to do very little damage. Typically the moveset for this Pokemon in this cup is Rock Slide. The opponent just lets these both go, so I think this will be back-to-back Psycho Boost. So if you're going to shield any, shield up the first one here, boom, this will do the most damage, and they'll get to the second one right here. Honestly, I don't mind letting Swampert go, and maybe just coming in for a farm down with Darmanitan, but this is absolutely fine. Just maintain alignment. Our Darmanitan is a very alignment-based Pokemon, and in comes, is that a Lapras? We're going to go for a chip here with the Hydro Cannon. Would we have got to the Earthquake? Probably not. The opponent swaps out into a Raikou, and this is a little bit tricky, but we're going to come in here and farm this bad boy down with Ice Fang. They will get to probably 1 or 2 moves here. I'm not too sure on the counts in this Pokemon. It's a Pokemon I've never used. They go for the Shadow Ball. I was expecting them to go for back-to-back Wild Charge. I believe they do know that move. And yep, in comes Lapras. Now, even though, like I said, resisted, these will do a ton of damage. And I think this is where you want Superpower. If you could get back-to-back Superpowers, that'd be amazing. Now, this is a very tough match. Can we still win this one? This is going to come right down to the wire. Because, of course, if the opponent's using Legacy Ice Beam, it'll take us out. Wow, that actually done quite a lot of damage. I think we're running very attack weights, and I think the opponents maybe using... Yeah, the opponent's using Legacy Ice Beam. I think the opponents are using a very attack-weighted Pokemon as well. So these things are doing a little bit more damage than you'd expect. And that's a good game, unfortunately. Pretty tough one to win there, and yeah, we're going to hop on into the next one. It's just a very spicy team by the opponent, not the type of Pokemon you expect to see very often. Swampert versus Frostlass, once again pretty neutral lead. It all really comes down to the CMP, but in general, Swampert is more spammy, and generally it is a pretty positive matchup for it. So we're going to go for the Hydro Cannon number 1, which will get them down to, as you can see, about 35% health. We're going to look to go for a catch here, which is pretty nice, and we just need to hope that they don't have a counter user in the back. The opponent's actually staying in here for a minute, which is quite interesting. Can we commit to the farm down? We just about don't. We're actually going to shield up here and look to get off a move on whatever's in the back. I guess reading that they're weak to this because they didn't swap straight out. In comes a bug type, in comes Galvantula. Definitely a very awkward Pokemon to deal with in this cup in general, but we do have Swampert for it, which this Pokemon does not like to see. One Hydro Cannon comes very close to taking it out, and of course Bug resists ground type moves, but it's super effective. Oh, in comes this Meganium. Oh, we're just kind of locked in here for a minute, and this is a little bit awkward now. They could go for either move here. I think they just go for Frenzy Plant, because of course both moves are single resisted with your Flying type and Poison type. If you want to go for the most raw damage, you go for Earthquake, but in general Frenzy Plant is just super energy efficient. We're going to look to go for back-to-back Poison Fangs. If it was me in that situation, I probably would have got the debuff off first, just to make your wing attacks do more, but we're actually coming out with one of these moves for this Pokemon here. We're going to permanently debuff the Galvantula, and at this point this is just game over. We have the Hydro Cannon loaded, and we just need to CMP the opponent. We don't CMP them, so if they were at 2 moves here, this would be very rough. So, you know, in that situation you do of course just go for the CMP. We see another Volt Switch going through, so the opponent must not have been able to move, and Swampert's going to take it out. Swampert is not quite as good in this meta because you don't have steel types like Galarian, Stunfisk, and Registeel to target, so it doesn't quite have that going for it in this meta, but Swampert is always going to be just super spammy and hits really hard with the Hydro Cannons. So you're seeing here, like, the power of this Pokemon is just kind of, it doesn't really matter what the meta is. In neutral matchups, Swampert is just super good. We'll see what the opponent does. Looks like they're going straight for the Psycho Boost. We can survive one, and we can look to take alignment, which is amazing for this team. In comes Lantern, and this is very, very tricky now. We definitely need to go for the bait or land the Earthquake. If we can get both shields off the opponent, we should be okay here, but generally this is quite tricky. And the opponent's going to get to a Surf. We do have to respect it. We can't allow this Pokemon to see really either of our back two Pokemon, so we really need to take this thing out here. If the opponent recognizes that we're staying in with Swampert because we don't have any other good answers to it, they shield the Earthquake. We're in a pretty tough position here. I think you just have to invest your final shield, but we don't actually do it. We're maybe going to look to come in here with Darmanitan. I think at this point, this is where you would once again love to have Superpower. Oh, we do have... Okay, no, sorry, this is Golbat. Looks like we're coming in to go for Shadow Ball, which I guess kind of makes sense. Like, you don't really have a hard-hitting move to throw at it. I thought for a second we had Superpower. That actually hits like a truck. Are we going to keep this alive or sacrifice it? We do have a Deoxys in the front side, and we do call a Surf, which is interesting. In comes a Medicham, and this is very tough. We do need to shield this and get rid of this Medicham, because Darmanitan cannot deal with this and Deoxys. We really need to get rid of this Medicham, but I just don't see that we can win this matchup. I think we're just a little bit too low with this thing, and if the opponent kind of decides to throw the game here, that's sort of our only win con. They're coming in with Lantern, we Ice Fang it down. The Deoxys is just too high on health, unfortunately. How much will this Avalanche do, though? We actually might win this game. This Avalanche is going to do a lot of damage. This is a big bulky. Oh my goodness, it actually almost one-shots it. And the opponent CMPs us. We're actually going to win this game, which is pretty insane, to be honest with you. We're going to look to farm it down. We do get the farm down just in time. Of course, no fret. We were resisting. Is that triple resisted counters with the poison typing? Good games, very well played. Let me know if you've been running any spicy picks in this cup and what you thought about this cup this week. We of course have Open Great League and Great League Remix next week. Let me know which one of those you'll be playing, and like I said, if you've enjoyed the last couple of weeks of meta in basically Go Battle League. To be honest with you, it's probably been, in my personal opinion, probably the most sort of difficult month or two that I've played in Go Battle League history. It was super fun playing all of the new Pokemon in the Open Great League, but generally the Single Type Cup, the Element Cup, and Ultra League, in my personal opinion, maybe with the exception of Ultra League, they felt very RPS, and it's just not been the most fun time. So I'm very excited to see some Open Great League. Let me know if you guys are looking forward to that as well, and if you've been running any interesting picks for these cups. We actually two-shot the Snorlax, which is insane. Snorlax is just not that bulky in Great League, and back in comes Girafarig here. Now they're using, if they were using Confusion, they'd be absolutely eating this bat, but unfortunately for them they're not. They do get off of last second debuff. Now this actually will come very close to taking us out. The Psychic Fangs, boom, it actually almost takes us out, yeah. And at this point, they've got a Frostless in the back. Ladies and gents, we are coming in for the farm down with Darmanitan. We're taking them down to Darmanitan Farm Downtown. Try to say that fast 3 times. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the showcase. A very, very interesting gameplay here by, of course, Toad. Feel free to check him out in the description down below. And like I said, feel free to send in your own battles. If you did enjoy today's video, like I said, around 70% of you, or 65%, are not subscribed. So if you would like to join here and join the community, it'd be very much appreciated. And a big thank you for watching the video. Darmanitan's going to take care of business here. We're going to farm this down, and this is going to be a good game. We do go for the catch on Swampert, just to flex on the opponent. A little bit risky, but I don't think the opponent's going to get to enough moves. Good games, very well played. Thank you very much everybody for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you all next time for a brand new video.